Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin, absolutely delighted that you could join us on the programme. It's Monday after the madness of a weekend in the Scottish Premiership. In the studio to digest it and discuss it, Alan Ruff and Barry Ferguson. Yep, we're all man enough to turn up, and here's what we're going to talk about. Yep, welcome to the programme. Let's cut to the chase. Rangers 0, Celtic 2. All the hype, and only one team turned up at the end of the 90 minutes, Barry.
Yeah, no complaints. I really thought Rangers would have put in a better performance. I was confident that they could get the right result. But look, you've got to take your hat off to Celtic. I thought Celtic came with a clear game plan right for kick-off. And throughout the game, they had the better players on the pitch and thoroughly deserved their 3 points. Who's
to blame? Was it the manager, or was it individual players, or a collective?
Well, sometimes you get I was surprised at some of the players that played, but if you pick a team, it's up to them when they cross that white line, Peter, to go out and put a performance on, and they were below par, the Rangers players, there's no doubt. Since the start of pre-season, they've looked a team full of confidence, on the front foot, and they never brought that game plan to the fold in Sunday afternoon. And as I said, Celtic came with a clear message that they're not giving up this title easily.
Barry thought Rangers were going to win. You thought Rangers were going to win. Celtic's back line, which hadn't been together too long, and middle and front, they bossed it the first 45 minutes. Ruffy, what did you think overall in the two halves?
I thought initially they were outthought, and in the end they were outfought. I thought Celtic played a really pressing game. They obviously identified the players that made Rangers tick, and any time the ball was in about that particular player, Scott Brown was there, and McGregor was there, Chris was there, they hunted in packs, they shut Rangers down every opportunity, and I just thought, I personally thought the team selection was wrong with Steven Gerrard. I thought I would have been playing my most potent striker, Morales, in a big high-profile game. I know he's not scored any goals against Celtic, but that's got to change sometime. And I thought he should have been playing, and Rangers should have played a wide man. I don't know who it might have been, but a wide man against the full-back that everybody's seen that Celtic have a problem with.
Well, the majority of the media seem to buy into the hype on Rangers. Not all outlets were so forthright in Rangers going to win this one, but certainly the Celtic manager picked his moment to fire back.
We were an afterthought coming into this fixture. I was an afterthought. My board were an afterthought. It was all about the opposition and what they were going to do to us, and we didn't listen to any of you. We stayed strong. We played brilliantly. Even in your promo for the game, Charles, there's no picture of me. It's all about Stephen. It's really nice of you. I feel like Brooks Koepka here. So we came here to win. We came here to be strong. First half we bossed it. Brown, outstanding. He's another one's been written off, by the way. Bolingoli, Julian, outstanding performances. And I've got a front four who are a handful for any team.
Well, sometimes you can agree and disagree with Neil. He had his moment there and a chance to fire back at the assembled members of the press. When you look at going to Ibrox, he certainly reiterated time and time again prior to the game kicking off. He couldn't understand what all the hype was and to be so dismissive of the champions. But one thing I think we did emphasise is middle to front. Mm-hmm. If you looked at the stats, middle to front, Celtic are really powerful. It was the unknown of the back four that everybody was waiting to see.
Yeah, it's clear that hit a nerve what some people were saying.
You like that about him, don't you?
Yeah, listen, it's clear that he's used it all week. He's went into that into Lennox down at the training ground and says to these players, listen, people are writing us off. Now, Celtic, for me, are still favourites for the title. It's just that they've had he's obviously spent a bit of money on 7 million in Julian, 3 million Bong and Goalie, who have struggled, but it's always going to take time for these guys to settle in. And the perfect example was he put a lot of trust in these players, and they come up trumps on Sunday. I thought defensively Celtic were excellent. And as you say, they're always a threat, Peter, going forward. They're always a threat, especially with Big Edward up front. When you give him space and time to get in behind, he's always going to cause you a problem.
Yeah. Do you think, if you mentioned that the Old Firm games were the defining moment of how this title could go, do you think with advantage Celtic after game one, albeit the next one's at Celtic Park as well, do you think that Rangers' hopes of stopping Celtic are slim or gone?
It's still a bit early, Peter, but listen, I did say, and you know what I've said, I do think it will come down to these Old Firm games. Now Celtic have won the first one, and deservedly so, in my eyes. Now Rangers need to go to Celtic Park, which is I know myself, is a difficult place to go and win a game of football. They'll need to go and get something for that game. They'll need to. Because I don't think either team is going to drop a lot of points elsewhere. As I said, I think it's going to come down to the Old Firm games.
And the Celtic manager reckons that there are a number of people out there who don't want Celtic to succeed.
You're the ones who are writing all the stories. You're the ones who are the experts, so-called experts, pundits. You're the ones who are, giving your opinions on radios, on TV, in the papers. You want us to feel, because we have been so dominant, but we're not prepared to give up our title just yet. And neither are the players, and neither are the board.
Yeah, well, there is a man who's playing it right down the line, Ruffy. He's got everybody suddenly right behind him. It's almost like back to the Fergie days at Aberdeen and at Manchester United.
Yeah, and it kills the theory that managers don't read the newspapers or listen to what anybody says, because you do. If it's not you reading it, somebody's telling you what somebody said, and you do in football. Good managers use that to their advantage, and that's what he's doing now. He's got every right to do it. He's taking a lot of personal stick from his own support in some quarters, rightly or wrongly. So he's come out and he's got it right, and he's got every right to get there and have a go at everybody who had a go at him.
Yeah, well, if he gets the praise for winning an Old Firm encounter, there's going to be criticism for the man who loses the game, and Steven Gerrard is well up for that.
I went with freshness. I went with Jermaine Defoe. I picked the same team besides Joe Aribo that done the job so effectively 8 weeks ago. I understand and get it and accept it. If people want to point fingers my way, of course, I'm part of it. But I picked a team that I thought would get a stranglehold in the game. I picked good players. This system's worked before. And I expected more from my players, but it didn't come.
He's defending his formation, but he's defending his team selection on it. Was it a case of the team selection formation was wrong, or was it just a case of Celtic actually didn't allow them to play?
Look, it's one of them. I thought he would have, as I says, played with at least one wide guy, and I thought he would have went with Morelos up front. Look, he's not a stupid guy. He's intelligent enough to go away and have a look at the game. But you can go on about formations and about personnel. At the end of the day, Celtic were the better team. Celtic deserve to win it. I don't think anybody can argue about that. But as I says, I was surprised at some of his selections, but listen, that's why you're paid the big bucks to go and make the decisions.
Yeah, and of the 11 that he picked and the subs who come on, this was Steven Gerrard's assessment of anyone getting pass marks.
Today across the board we weren't good enough. I think really there's only John Flanagan who I think can be really proud of his performance. So you can't expect to beat a good team or win an Old Firm when the majority of your players are off it.
Okay, so from that game you can give us your view on YouTube. Undoubtedly this will stretch all the way through till we talk about Scotland and their double-header coming up in the qualifiers. Here's the results over the Premiership over the weekend. Other games that you might want to talk about: Aberdeen 3, Ross County 0, Hearts 2, Hamilton 2, Livingston 2, St Mirren 1, Motherwell 3, Hibernian 0, Rangers 0, Celtic 2 and St Johnstone 0, Kilmarnock 1. Just before we go to our quiz. I've got to get your thoughts, guys, on the comings and goings, which will undoubtedly go right down to the wire with regards to signing targets. Greg Taylor, Celtic have bid $2 million. They don't want to give, well, Calvin Miller and Jack Henry don't want to go to Kilmarnock. So that's put a real spoke in the works here. So Celtic are going to have to up the money if they want Greg Taylor in before this deadline.
Yeah, look, he's a good player. There's no doubt. I've watched him a number of times. Certainly last season he impressed me. Under Stevie Clark, he's just saying Jack Henry and who's on the one? Calvin Miller that don't want to go to Kilmarnock. These guys need to go out and play. They need to see it as an opportunity to go and get games under their belt. But I think he'd be a good addition. He would certainly add competition to that left back area.
Yeah, Ruffy, Ryan Kent, will he, won't he? Where is he going? Is it going to be Bruges? Is it going to be Rangers? If Rangers get him right up at the wire, it's a loan deal till January, potentially with £2 million paid down, a sell-on clause, and then eventually instalments on the $5 million. Is he the game changer?
He's not a massive game changer. He's a good player to have on your side. He
I know
last
that.
year.
I know that. Is he a game changer to win the league for Rangers?
He'll make Rangers a better side.
Will he win the league for? Is that the man that wins the league for Rangers?
If he's a better player coming into Rangers, it gives them a better chance to win it. I'm not saying they're going to win it, but it'll give them, bringing the quality players like that in, gives you a better chance.
If I was looking at Rangers right now and saying I'm going to spend £2 million, Barry, and then instalments, I'd be going out and getting a striker.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to come in and win them the league. Let's be honest. I do think they're light up top. You've got two strikers. If one of them get injured, Defoe's not getting any younger. They need to, for me, you always need to have 3, even 4 strikers at the club, because you've got the Europa League coming up, Peter. Thursday, Sunday, it's a big ask. So for me, look, he is a good player, no doubt. He was great last year for Rangers, but I still think they need to add a bit more firepower.
Yep. Okay. Over and above that, Kilmarnock, Kirk Broadfoot, he wanted to be released from his contract. Is that an indication of maybe something going on in the background, Ruffy?
Yeah, well, we'll be hearing there's lots of things going on in the background. But again, the manager's got to win, so that takes the pressure off of him. So maybe just not getting on with a new manager.
Yeah. Graham Dorrans goes in at Kelly as well. Ruffy, is that a good signing?
Yeah, I think he's a good player. I think obviously he's had some bad injuries, but he's certainly got some quality that'll add to that team.
Okay, we're going to dissect the rest of the Premiership, including troubled times on both halves of the capital city. Which one of them is going to get the chop, if at all? Will it be Paul Heckingbottom under pressure first, or Craig Levein? Both of them equally balanced with unhappy fans in green and white and maroon and white. We'll discuss that after we give you this week's quiz. Barry Ferguson's quote after that quiz there was, "It's easy." If he thinks it's easy, well, steam in there and see what you can do as well to see if you can win yourself a PLZ team t-shirt in the colour of your favourite team. So with that in mind, let's get Gabriel Antoniazzi to sum up all the rest of the goals.
Aberdeen won for the first time since the opening day and eased past a poor Ross County. Craig Levein believes he is still the man to turn around Hearts' fortunes despite surrendering the league twice to draw with Hamilton. Livingston showed they are no one-season wonder as they beat St Mirren to remain unbeaten so far this season. Motherwell impressed against a poor Hibs as the pressure piles on Paul Heckingbottom. Kilmarnock won their first game of the season with an away victory at bottom side St Johnstone, and Celtic took command of the Premiership and hit back at their critics with an impressive 2-0 win at Ibrox.
Gabriel, summing up the weekend in the Scottish Premiership, Hearts against Hamilton. Hearts were out in front and then suddenly pegged back on 2 occasions by Hamilton. Aki's not good enough, booed off the park again. People calling for Craig Levein to go. Is it getting ever closer?
Yeah, I think it is. I think really one really bad result could be the time when Anne Budge will have to make a decision. I don't think it'll be a sacking. It'll be a sort of a moving of position back to where he was. And it's not just because of that game at the weekend. It's because of the last 12 or 13 games. It's not as if it's just happened. And it's the way they're losing goals. Hearts, Tynecastle was usually a fortress. You used to, struggle to get anything there, but just giving away goals left, right, and centre.
Yeah, well, the Scotland squad assembled today, getting ready for the double header coming up against Russia and Belgium. And Hearts striker Stevie Naismith accepts that it's not good enough.
Yeah. Simple as it is, but it's not been good enough in terms of results. But it is early days. We've got the chance to rectify that after these internationals. But in terms of the squad we've got and where we should be, talking from a player's point of view, it hasn't been good enough. Simple as that. We've been in good positions in games. The weekend example, and you throw it away at home, which is for a team that's wanting to be challenging for European places, is not good enough. Aberdeen was another example. We take the lead on a good position and we have a crazy 10 minutes, which cost us.
Well, before the show started, you were wondering, Barry, whether Craig Levein was bomb-proof. Will you be gobsmacked if he ends up upstairs if they do decide to cut the umbilical cord from the manager's dugout?
Yeah, I don't see how you can be manager and go back to being director of football again. And Budge is the only one that can really answer that, but he's already been director of football, he's now managing. I don't think, or I don't believe it's right that he would go back to being the director of football again.
OK, only time will tell on that. The Hearts fans are not a happy bunch with Craig Levein. And again, I can tell you, across the other end of the city, the Hibs fans are not happy with what they're witnessing from Paul Heckingbottom. I watched the game. I was there at Fir Park. Hibs were very poor. Motherwell deserving of all 3 points. And at the end, there's a lot of Hibs fans giving Paul Heckingbottom what for. But he was quite up for taking the criticism.
You're going to, because you're in charge, you're going to get the stick. Of course you are, but that's the nature of the job. That's what you get paid to take. And like I say, you don't get carried away when they chant your name. You don't get carried away when you're getting booed. You can't. It's obvious for me what we need to change and how we need to do it. That's it. Get back to work.
Well, we started at the top of the programme with the Neil Lennon factor. I think the lack of a Neil Lennon factor now at Hibs is the reason why they're in this mess. I look at that side, it's a shadow of Neil Lennon's Hibs team. Yeah,
you just have to look at the team that Neil Lennon had. Very strong side, very hard to beat, everybody competing. And we heard about all the carry-ons at half-time with Neil and the players. I thought that made them better players. It gave them an ambition, that a will to win most of the games. I just think they just look powder puff. He's dismantled that side and he's brought players in who aren't playing in the same way that Neil had his players playing. And that's why they're in the state they are, particularly defensively. I mean, some of the goals they're losing are shocking. Yeah, I think, Alan Stubbs gave them a level of professionalism because he'd played at the top level, he'd won honours. I think Neil Lennon took it on again after the Scottish Cup win and got them back into the Premiership in Scotland. I look at the way Paul Heckingbottom's side's geared up. You'll never win anything, I think, with Canberra up front on his own and Scott Allen playing left of centre at times. I just think he's wasting some of the players there. Yep, I have to agree with you. I look at the squad and the team inherited from Neil Lennon, and I think it's a very good squad at that. But I'm with you. Scott Allen, he's got to play in that number 10 role, Peter. He's got to be involved in the centre of the park. When he's out in the left or out in the right, he's not the same player and he's not the same influence. I think if you bring a player of that quality, you've got to build the team round about him. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the other factors is you've got to try and stop playing the ball over the midfield's head, which was abundantly clear. Talking of a more direct route, Livingston have got it down to a T, Roffey. They dispatched St Mirren out the door as well. They find themselves third top of the table. Yeah, they do, and particularly at home, they just grind you down. I think St Mirren will be a wee bit disappointed they never got something out of that game. Later on in the game, they had 2 or 3 chances. Goalkeeper had some good saves. But no, all credit to Livingston. They're one of the teams who fall into the Hamilton category where we all say, right, this is the year you're going back to where you came from. But no, they keep coming up with the goods. Yep, and just as a footnote, St Johnstone, Kilmarnock won. He's been under pressure. I still think he will come under more pressure again because all is not well in the background. There's no smoke without fire. But Alessio managed to guide Kelly to a win. Yeah, and it was desperately needed. I mean, the same St Johnstone are desperately needing a win as well.
they come out and talk. It just, something doesn't sit right with me. You know, at Kilmarnock, obviously you've seen Broadfoot leaving the club. There's been a wee bit of whispers coming out that there's a bit of unrest. Just, it's after the way the club has went the last couple of years, that's the last thing they're needing. But listen, it was an important 3 points for them.
It's all the madness of Scottish football. Thank you very much to everyone for their contributions. Don't forget, you can post your messages on YouTube. We get them, we react to them as well. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and as ever, as you can see, right across our social media platforms, download the app and you will get all the news and all the videos on your fingertips. Get us on Twitter and, of course, Facebook Lives as well. There's a bit of, well, some people were thinking Barry wouldn't turn up today, but Ruffy, there was no doubt about it in my mind that he was going to turn up. He was full of excitement, enthusiasm, expectancy on Friday, and then slowly but surely, even after Kelty win a game, he was brought back down to earth with a thud. But I'm glad that he came in here to face up to it all.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll live to fight another day.
Yeah, and talking of fighting another day, just before we go, Auchinleck Talbot in the cup for Kelty Hearts. That is magnificent.
Yeah, it is. It's probably the two big guns in the first round draw. You're always wanting a home draw, but when I seen Auchinleck, who have took some big scalps in the past, last year, they knocked out Ayr United. So no, we'll expect a tough game, a full house, and hopefully it might be live on TV.
Will you play your best striker? Yeah.
I'll try and play my best team.
Yeah, because if you don't, then we'll leather you the next day if you get knocked out of the cup. It's as simple as that. Talking of, the last thing we want to do in this programme is in any way be smug, pompous and say I told you so. Let's have a look at the head-to-head at the moment just to see how it's all going. Oh, look at that. It's getting embarrassing, Ruffy. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm going to quote somebody that's not too far away from us. There's such a long way to go, but 33-18-23, Ruffy. I mean, it's
so early.
So early a lead.
So early.
Early a lead. And people have been knocking me, by the way, and absolutely caning me, and they didn't expect me to win again. But that's what happens, you know. All the build-up videos and everything were about, you know, how you and Barry were going to do. But look at what's happening here, Baz.
I'll need to have a good look at myself in the mirror. I'll need to put a bit more concentration into the results on a Friday.
Yeah, and a lot of you don't need to put it on YouTube. Is it humanly possible that Barry could look in the mirror longer than he does at the moment? We'll leave you with that thought. Thanks to Ruffy, thanks to Barry Ferguson, and from myself, Peter Martin. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.